Here are the big trends that will make people too rich this bull market cycle. In fact, I think that probably like 90% of the profits could come from these sectors that I'm personally very, very bullish on and investing in heavily. But not all sectors are created equally. And while I am very bullish on some sectors, others, not so much. So let's start off with some of the sectors that I'm not quite as bullish on before moving on to the ones that I think have massive potential and are going to make crazy money for investors as we gear up into this next major phase of the market cycle. And to be clear, I'm still dabbling even in some of the areas that I think are not like as wildly bullish because maybe they won't be the absolute key money making trends this cycle, at least not for most investors, but there's still going to be money to be made in those areas. And remember that you do not need to be in every single trend to make money in this market. Get that FU money that lets you sail away on the yacht with the wife and the kids and live the good life, retire early, financially free. You don't need to be everywhere. You can actually just niche down into any one of these. Anyway, let's get into what I'm a bit less bullish on first, and that is Ethereum layer 2s. Now, to be clear, I'm farming a bunch of these trying to get into the airdrops. Bullish on free airdrop money. 100% this guy. But, and this is a big, big but, the vast majority of these Ethereum layer 2 networks governance tokens, kind of garbage if we're keeping it real. Sure, farm and dump, that's cool. But after that, not super attractive to be buying on the open market. Plus, with something like 20 Ethereum layer 2 tokens launching in 2024, man, the market's getting super saturated with layer 2 governance tokens. And most of those layer 2 will absolutely struggle to keep users around post airdrop. dApps will have low volumes. And overall, a lot of these chains are going to struggle. 90% plus of the market liquidity on layer 2 Ethereum is going to go to like the top 3 or 4 chains: Base, Mantle, Optimism, Linea, ZK Sync in there as well. But even then, with the exception of Mantle, who of course is working very hard to give their tokens value, these others, Base doesn't have a token yet, by the way, will probably underperform the market like Arbitrum has so far. Okay, so keep that in mind. Love layer 2s, tokens, governance tokens, meh. Moving on from that, let's talk about layer 1 blockchains. Oh, so many. A lot of old chains exist out there that have very few users, very few use cases, very few dApps, and struggle to get any attention at all. It's crazy. Others might have some attention, but abysmal user statistics, abysmal total value on chain, all that kind of stuff. And new chains are launching all the time, putting more pressure on. A few of those will be really good. Those new chains, maybe it's going to be Sui, maybe it's going to be Nibiru, I don't know. But most will run into the same kind of problems that the layer 2s do. They're going to fail to get users. They're going to fail to get traction or just generally suck. Historically, blockchains have been some of the biggest winners in market cycles in crypto. But for someone to come in now and really capture market share, it's going to be hard. Those chains have been out there for years struggling to capture market share, and they haven't. Right now, the top 4 chains have 75% of the value on chain and 75% of the users. The remaining 25% is made up mostly of Ethereum layer 2s. Let that sink in. That's crazy. I'm not saying other chains can't pump. They will. But as the space gets more diluted and the winners extend their lead, I'm less optimistic on some of these new blockchains coming to the market, right? They're all just 7-minute abs kind of thing, or better than 8-minute abs, right? Anyway, now let's talk about crypto infrastructure coins. Infrastructure, very interesting. Also kind of too nerdy and maybe a bit too diluted. Although there will be some real standout winners and novel ideas. Obviously, you have stuff like Chainlink, Total Beast, great. Celestia, needed product. Lava Network, very cool idea. Subsquid, look into it. It's going to be insane. By the way, I'm invested in all of those, of course. Full disclosure statement in the description on YouTube or the pinned comment on X. If you ever want to know what I am personally invested in or any of my venture investments, you can find that there, as well as a risk statement, because investing in crypto is risky. Equals all your money. Okay, that being said, let's get back into it. Look, bridging tokens, for example, their infrastructure coins, good potential for farming the airdrops, like Wormhole's governance token, which made a lot of money for a lot of people. Thanks, Wormhole. But it's still just a governance token. So you have to be aware of these governance tokens as they don't really capture a lot of value. Oh, they can pump short airdrop, farming them can be great. But keep in mind, there's like at least 10 bridge tokens coming probably by the end of the year. It's getting pretty crowded out there. Farm them, don't marry them, in my humble opinion. I wouldn't buy a lot of these on the secondary market. And that goes for a lot of the infrastructure stuff that you're going to see coming to the market over the next 6 to 12 months. Keep that in mind. Now let's talk DeFi. DeFi, decentralized finance, too diluted. We don't need 100 different perpetual swap exchanges. We don't need 100 different lending market coins. New players will and are currently struggling. If you have used DeFi a lot on layer twos, then you probably know what I mean. Many of these new apps, new protocols have shockingly low liquidity, even for major pairs like ETH USDC. I was trying to do a trade the other day, and it was just for like $10,000 or something, not a crazy amount of money for an exchange. They should be able to handle that. And the slippage was terrible. Blue chips will continue to dominate the DeFi space. Think Aave, who's looking to turn on the fee switch, MakerDAO, Trader Joe. Focus on yield, real yield. What can the protocol do for you? Uniswap's Uni token, for example, utter garbage in its current form until they turn on that fee sharing and real yield switch. Far too many DeFi tokens for far too many protocols are governance tokens that capture zero value, and the market doesn't value them very highly. Jupiter, for example, proved, of course, that governance tokens can capture value, and that new DeFi protocol tokens can capture massive value in the market. But first, they need to provide massive value and have an incentive structure set up that's actually going to encourage people to go out and buy the damn token and not just dump it. The cream, of course, will rise to the top in DeFi, but there are far too many DeFi protocols on far too many chains. 95% of them will do nothing except go to zero. I like DeFi, big fan, but it's not going to be the major focus of the bull cycle for me beyond looking at a few like the major exchange coins, Jupiter, Trader Joe, Aerodrome. Keep an eye on that. There are a few of my venture investments I think that could be really big players too, that could break through in the space, like Gravity, GRVT, or nerdy DeFi infrastructure plays like Orderly, which is, again, infrastructure background of all the DeFi stuff. But again, those new players come in and have a hard battle ahead of them. Another one I'm not wildly bullish on theme-wise is Ethereum restake. Now, to be clear, I am farming the crap out of Eigenlayer points right now. I'm staking ETH in EtherFi, in ClayStack, in Puffer Finance, and KelpDAO. I'm actively hunting those airdrops. But outside of that, I don't know, man. A lot of these restaking coins, they're going to be governance tokens. Yeah, great to farm and sell. Probably not super awesome to run and ape into on the secondary market when they come out. There'll be trading plays, all that stuff, sure. But I feel like there's a certain way to play this game when it comes to restaking. Plus, the whole restaking thing, probably a massive systemic risk to Ethereum's ecosystem that will lead to some kind of giant deleveraging event in the bull market comes to an end and we hit the bear market. But, that's for later us to worry about. Going up, I think we'll see a lot of money made in farming those airdrops and in getting the incentives like from EtherFi. But I don't think the tokens themselves are really great investments, personally. Now let's talk about one that I'm probably wrong on, but I'm going to talk about anyway, which is real world assets, or RWA. And I've got mixed feelings on it. See, on the one hand, institutions bringing billions and eventually trillions on chain is wildly freaking bullish. On the flip side, this is probably the first cycle where this is really starting to heat up. We've been talking about real world assets since 2017, since I've been making content. The idea's been around before that. And for me, look, it doesn't matter where you put the bonds. I still don't really want to buy the bonds. Bonds on the blockchain are still just bonds, and they're boring as hell. But I get it. Okay, I understand the value proposition. I just don't want to devote a lot of my cash to the narrative right now. RWA will be big, but for me, it's not super exciting. And a lot of RWA projects, of course, will be before their time and overhyped, even in this cycle. And much of the RWA value can and likely will, again, flow up to big DeFi blue chips anyway. Think MakerDAO and their purchase of US treasuries. Although a recent CoinGecko report states that, to an extent, I'm wrong on this opinion, that Q1 saw some of the biggest gainers behind meme coins were real world asset coins, particularly Ondo Finance, which really brought the entire RWA space up by itself. So maybe I'm mid-curving RWAs, but anyway, can't be in everything. And this is one that I'm deciding not to allocate a lot of capital to. And finally, from this list is DEPIN, decentralized physical infrastructure networks. Personally, not investing a huge amount in the DEPIN space outside of GPU network stuff, which is really more like AI anyway. Peak network, kind of a DEPIN infrastructure play. Now, DEPIN coins are cool, and they do have some decent potential. I'll be clear on that. But a lot of the token models are not super strong, to be honest, and will trend down due to high sell pressure. Now, if you can participate in earning the tokens, fantastic. Get amongst it. Some DeFi stuff's probably going to do really, really well in the secondary markets too. But for my own sanity, again, I'm choosing not to go too far down this particular rabbit hole, which is probably a good idea for you to do the same. Now, not about DEPIN specifically, but about not chasing too many narratives. We've already talked about a lot of narratives. It's exhausting already, isn't it? We haven't even got into the ones that make a bullish on. We're not even going to talk about like decentralized social media. That's a whole nother like kettle of fish. What about decentralized science? Man, stop it. What about NFTs? Lark, you haven't said anything about NFTs yet, man. How dare you? Oh, yeah. Look, NFTs are already seen a pretty big renaissance. Will probably go much, much higher than is seen again this cycle because human greed has not gone away. Of course, we'll bid monkey pictures up to $1 million again. But I don't have time for that shit, man. Come on, stop it. Now, before we get into the trends that I am 100% big time bullish on and allocating more capital to, and the ones I think that have, of course, massive potential to capture huge value, maybe the majority of the value being created in the market for the rest of the cycle, I just wanted to let you know that you need to get signed up to the Wealth Mastery newsletter. Best damn newsletter in the business. Every week, my team of 10 writers and I spend more than 40 hours researching and writing and diving deep in order to give you the latest that's happening in DeFi, airdrops, charts, NFTs, meme coins, and much, much more. Join our 120,000 plus weekly readers for free. Yes, free, by using the link down below on YouTube or the pinned comment on X. Thank you very much. Now, let's talk about what I believe are going to be some of the most bullish narratives this cycle with the highest potential to make massive returns. The first, Bitcoin. Yes, Bitcoin. I said it. Specifically, Bitcoin tokens and DeFi and layer 2 stuff. We are right now witnessing something that's never been seen in Bitcoin before, an explosion of building on Bitcoin. Bitcoin layer 2 networks are starting to pop up everywhere. Bitcoin tokens, runes, all this kind of stuff. It's very exciting. Bitcoin NFTs. Wow. Just an explosion of development and building going on over there. It's already starting to get a bit frothy, but it's also very, very exciting right now. It's still very, very early in the cycle. My guess is that this truly comes into its own really big time and gets insane beyond belief next cycle. But this bull run, there will be wild money made in the Bitcoin ecosystem. I don't have super heavy exposure yet, but I am paying attention and I'm looking to get a little bit more exposure. And I think it will be big, and I will likely continue to be talking about this as the cycle goes on. Next, let's talk about airdrops. If you have been mid-curving software testing in crypto, then you have missed out on probably thousands, maybe even tens of thousands of dollars this year alone. Airdrops make money, straight up. You can get airdrops by providing liquidity, by doing social tasks, by playing on test nets, or even by holding certain NFT collections or staking certain coins like Celestia or Dimension. Now, I've spent a good amount of time and energy doing airdrops this cycle, and sometimes it's a pain in the ass and it's exhausting, but the rewards so far have been pretty damn significant. I have made multiple guides on how to farm airdrops on my channel. So if you want to check those out, go look them up. And I will continue to farm airdrops until they stop making money, because one day they will. Now, look, especially if you have a smaller portfolio size, airdrop farming can be a really great way to pump up your bags, especially if you have the time to go and participate in free test nets and do social tasks, all that stuff, because some airdrops can be absolutely insane. Again, yeah, okay, a lot of them are BS governance tokens, and we talked about a few minutes ago, but you can obtain those via airdrop farming and then sell them for cash money to buy more Bitcoin or Solana or whatever. Or in some cases, you can restake them for more airdrops. It's kind of like airdrop inception. It gets a bit crazy. And yeah, not all airdrops can be winners either. Sometimes you're going to do all this work and you're going to get an airdrop that's going to be like $20. And you're like, why do I even bother wasting my time? Sometimes you're going to get an airdrop that's going to be worth thousands. You're going to go, that's how winning's done. I'm a genius. Now let's talk about artificial intelligence. Just the biggest technological innovation of the decade, possibly of our lifetimes, possibly a technological innovation more revolutionary than the internet itself. Yeah, exciting. And there are some great ways to get exposure to this in crypto. Not all are created equally, obviously, and there's a lot of bullshit out there, but something like GPU networks, probably a pretty solid play for AI crypto coins. But the rabbit hole goes very, very deep in crypto AI, and there's a lot of new use cases being tested. Some of them are actually pretty good. Some of them are straight up bullshit, buzzword, money grabs. It's hard to tell a difference at the start before we see networks really deploy. But some of these new AI protocols are really testing the boundaries of what AI and crypto and decentralized systems can do together. And I'm here for it. I'm all about it. It'll be frothy and it'll be fun. It's a small sector right now, but it could be one of the most hyped crypto sectors this cycle as we see all these new launches starting to come. I'm watching this for different ways to allocate money, whether via public or private markets. There's a lot of cool stuff coming out. These are the two biggest tech trends essentially in the world right now, crypto and AI together. So why would I want to mid-curve that and fade AI crypto coins? I'm actually surprised at currently just how small of a percentage of the total market cap crypto AI is right now. It's less than 1%, and that's probably going to change soon and change pretty fast because there are dozens of new AI coins coming to the market over the next few months, so watch out. The next one might be a bit controversial for you, by the way, and that's meme coins. I know, but I finally stopped mid-curving memes. Tokenized culture connoisseur right here. And I know a lot of meme coins are low effort, crash grab bullshit, but not all. Essentially, meme coins, you have to understand culture is the most important thing on the internet. It's wildly big, and meme coins are just a financial representation of that. Now, obviously, I would not risk wild sums of money on memes, but it is easy to recognize that memes are the gateway drug into crypto. So think about it like this: parallel EVM, data availability, Byzantine generals, chain latency, cross-chain communication. You just got to the market. You're hearing that boring ass nerdy shit. What is that? People just want to make money, man. They want to have fun. So why not just buy a meme coin? Hey, that Brett creature, that's funny. Hey, that dog, that's funny. Hey, I like Puff the Dragon. Meme coins are retail accessible. They're fun. And the stories of people becoming overnight millionaires, it's like a flame to the moth for normies. It's the gateway drug for people to come into crypto. I made the decision to actively stop fading memes and to have fun, and I've allocated capital accordingly. As long as greed exists and people make money on memes, then they will be popular. Okay. Now, the final two mega bull trends. The first is Solana. I know Solana recently has been a bit, but Solana has been the hype machine so far of this crypto cycle. And once they fix their issues, it'll come back. If you haven't figured out that Solana is probably not one to fade, then you probably haven't been paying that much attention. And look, I'm not super heavily invested in the Solana asset itself, but I do have some interesting ecosystem plays, decent exposure, for example, via Jupiter, as well as some gaming stuff like Mixmob, for example. My guess is that Solana keeps winning, that they overcome their issues and go on to be, again, the major trend setter of the cycle. Winners keep winning, and they create a self-perpetuating winning cycle until, of course, the bear market comes and everybody loses. Now, why does Solana win? Of course, because it's a winner. When it works, when it works. Bunch of big airdrops coming as well, continue to inject liquidity on the chain. Major gaming releases for stuff like Neon Heroes coming up. Meme coins hitting mega billion valuations almost overnight. Fire Dancer coming later this year, making 1.2 million transactions, assuming the chain works possible. So I would fade Solana at my peril. Pay attention. Now, the biggest narrative, possibly the biggest of all that I'll be increasing exposure to and have already increased exposure to, is Base. Coinbase is about to bring 120 million people. Well, that's the number of the people on their exchange, but a lot of those people get on-chain access via the exchange and the smart wallet. It's going to be crazy when you start to dial in and look at the numbers and understand what's coming specifically for Coinbase's layer 2 Base. Oh, it's hard to ignore. Everything in the Base ecosystem will likely be much, much, much higher repriced this year and next year. Maybe I'm misunderstanding something. Maybe I am not thinking clearly enough, but it feels like such an obvious play at this point that Coinbase is going to bring all these people into crypto on chain. Sometimes what's required to win in crypto is just to think less. Just ape. Coinbase onboarding 120 million users onto the Base chain, their smart wallet coming. Even if 10% of those people come over, that has wild implications for valuations for Base assets. Those top meme coins like Brett, the top DeFi protocols like Aerodrome. Base season is gearing up to be wild. And again, fade it at your peril. Anyway, those were things I'm bullish on. Let me know what you're bullish on, or if I should be more bullish on some of the things that I'm not so bullish on. Thanks for watching.